Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Naija Knows. We have the beautiful me, which is Nika. We have Miss Felicia.
Hello.
We have Miss Tori.
Hi, guys.
And we have special guests because we did a dating episode and we said that we need some man's folk in here to give us a different perspective.
Some gentlemen.
So we have Rome and we have Neil. Say hi.
What's up? What's up?
Welcome.
So we're just going to talk about dating. We have a lot of questions for y'all, man. So just be aware that you are the representative for every man that we ever know. Just kidding.
I got you.
Be a lot of wise. Why?
So I guess my first question is like, what is it like for y'all? Because last time we were talking about, dating apps and how it is for us, sifting through people and stuff like that. Do y'all do dating apps at all? Like Bumble and Tinder or whatever else is out there?
I have before, like in the past, but not anymore though.
Yeah.
So you go old school route then. So you're actually
Ooh, that's tough.
I prefer that. I prefer that.
You said it's tough.
Yeah. How is that going with it being Corona? Because you can't go out as much, right?
That's true. But I just feel like when you meet people over the internet, you just meeting the reputation of the internet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like some people fall quick for people over the internet though, because you're just pretty much based off your conversation. But I'm just kind of old school. I'm kind of like, meet you out and about, go from there.
Okay. All right. What about you, Neil? Your mic is on mute. So we can't.
So,
there you go.
no, I've tried those apps. I don't know if I would consider it a real go though, because I was just signing up for something because somebody told me to try it. This was like years ago. The POF apps.
Oh, plenty of fish.
Yeah.
That was strictly
It wasn't nothing on there that I was interested in. So I haven't tried anything since that. And just like Ron said, man, a lot of people they present put a representative out there for them. So we meet you on the internet. Most of these women, or men too, they putting out a representative of who they want you to like or who they want to be. And so sometimes you got to be able to read between the lines and see things that they're not showing to know who you really
Don't you get that? Don't you get that anyway? Even when you're meeting people?
Yeah, but the internet makes it hard. The internet makes it harder because a lot of the time people on the internet putting on. I mean, they want you to interpret. So a lot of times they don't say anything, but you got to interpret what they're doing. For instance, some people will put on, chasing the bag, and they got they making $8 an hour. That's the
not above the minimum wage.
Running from
but that's the representative they putting out there. So we got to go get. I got a grinder, and they not really doing too much of nothing with themselves. So like I say, they all putting together like a representative of who they want you to like and who they want you to be, and you have to be able to decipher: is it real or is it fake?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like to Nikki's point though, that happens whether it's a little bit, to your point, it is a little bit more like in your face about it on the internet. But I feel like when you meet people, even in person, like the first 2 or 3 meetings, you still getting their representative. They could be behind the computer or in your face talking about somebody chase the bag when they really just
but the keyword, what you just said, the first 2 or 3 meetings, that's when you figure out they putting on. But on the internet, you've already got that interpretation because that's what they put out there before you even met them.
Exactly. And then also
jumping off the internet soon.
Right. But also you can judge based off how they put themselves out on a dating app. Like, for instance, if you have a woman who's write 5 pages about herself, to me, that's already kind of like turning me off a little bit because you're already putting too much versus me trying to get to know you already.
Yeah.
Because the observation is, I feel like men don't put enough.
Yeah.
Like it's the opposite. Like men don't put enough. Men don't put actually anything.
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 Right.
Of the nostril, like Felicia.
Right.
Like this. I'm supposed to make a judgment call off of this. Like
what you want? What I'm supposed to see?
That's true. Yeah, I can't say that. I would believe in that.
Yeah, I think, I kind of agree I definitely agree with Neil's point, but also agree with, we lost Rome for a second. I also agree with Tori in the sense that, normally you are meeting a representative up front anyway. But once you are dating,
and sometimes you might meet the representative for months into it because people are scared to show who they really are.
yeah,
Narcissists can hold on to that front forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes I think it works in the opposite because it's the internet and you don't have to have that face to face. You may be a little bit more open and all that because you don't have to actually look at that person in the face. Sometimes people are more vulnerable or open up more on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
You don't think they embellish? You don't think people embellish more?
I mean, people
on the internet?
definitely embellish, but I think again, people do that in person too. I know I've been lied to. I mean, like, oh, so
it was like a catch-22.
Oh, okay, got it.
But sometimes you can see it a lot better in person than you can see over the internet.
Right, and that's what makes it hard. What makes it harder when you strictly relying on the internet to figure out who someone is. You don't know who you're really getting if you're basing everything on the internet or what you've seen on some social site.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So like once y'all are out there, actually meeting people, like I know I had another conversation with someone and he was going in about this whole gold digger thing. Apparently this is a thing. Like a couple guys have told me this is something that's running rampant. It's like a woman is just after your pockets all the time. Is that true? Is that accurate? Is that y'all see it's more so now than before? Because it's a lot of songs and music out where we always talking about running the man for his money. So is that true?
I think it's happening.
A lot of the things that I see and that I have a problem with is women. You guys justify why you do what you do, but if a man does the exact same thing, we are in the wrong. I mean, it's all about preference, right? That's what we're talking about. Preferences when you date. You date someone based off of your preference, right? So you women have your preferences. You don't want a man who's broke. So you're not going to date a dude that can't afford to take you out in your instances, But if a man says that, oh, we get demonized and say, oh, we're wrong and we're shaming a person or something like that. And most of the time, you women say, oh, I want a man who's going to do this and do that for me, and you can't even afford to live the life that you want this man to provide for you.
Yeah,
I was like, I just had this conversation. It's an interesting narrative that's kind of like happening with that. Like I feel like men don't always get that same fairness when it comes to that preference. But I think that stems back to like traditional roles that we're still kind of like rolling through right now. Like usually, traditional cis line of thinking is man is provider, man makes money, man takes care of family, man does all those things. And then taking care of family also includes the financial aspect of that. And I think that particular notion still holds true, even though right now gender roles seem to be kind of flipping a little bit. You are seeing, whereas you saw the women that are, I think it's an imbalance. It's like the gender roles are kind of doing something different now, but some of those expectations you still want to see are still there, but now they're being amplified. It's like you want to see it, but how do you see it? And right now, the only thing they left grasping for is money. And I think that's all that's left, unfortunately. And it's not fair, but it's it's becoming, I think personally, just as bad as on the other side now, like with men wanting to either go half all the time. Nothing wrong with going half and being fair, but I think if but once again, there's a balance to it. And it's just like you have to understand like roles y'all want to play kind of thing. Not that men should pay for everything, but like in general. But
where's
that balance?
We're not living in the same times as our parents and grandparents is living in either. So when it comes to tradition, that's the only thing most women want to keep to tradition is a man financially taking care of home and the woman. But a lot of the times, women don't want to keep to the same traditions that was in place when that man was taking care of home. Because some of the same traditions was women stayed home and took care of the house. You guys don't want to stay in the house. Not you. I'm sorry. I generalized.
Thank you.
I was going to say something. You had one more time.
Women don't want to stay home and take care of the home these days anymore either. But that's tradition. So the only time you guys want to reflect and refer back to tradition is when it comes to money and the man taking care of the home. You guys don't say, oh, tradition was My grandma stayed home and cooked and cleaned, took and had the baby, stayed barefoot and pregnant, kept the house clean, took care of the family, took in, this, that, or the third. Tradition's never brought up in that instance. But when it comes to money, you guys all about tradition.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. Now, me personally, I mean, minus the baby part, I wouldn't mind staying home cooking and cleaning because I ain't I don't like going to work. Maybe if I had a job I liked, I don't like my job. So yeah, if you want to pay bills and I just cook and clean the house, like I'm down for that. But I might want to go out sometimes too because I also feel like money is also then a control factor, and that part
that's true too.
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
That would definitely true. I don't want to have to ask somebody for money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no. That's just.
I think the situation is too. You have women now are being able to be bosses. Like they didn't ever have opportunities like men had back in the day. You didn't see a lot of women CEOs, entrepreneurs, women being the breadwinners of their family. And now tables has turned because women are taught how to be strong versus how to love. And once the women taught how to love, then the strong is going to come behind that. But you have so many women that don't really want to love. They just want to be bosses. So they're just taught to be strong. They taught hey.
I don't know. I get what you're trying to say, but I don't know if it's we're not being taught how to love. I just think it's more so. It's got to be the balance on what how love look is going to change now that you don't have such stark dynamics. No women night home 24/7 and the man working. Women are starting to come up and it's starting to become even, if not a little bit kind of balanced the other way. So it's not that we're like, as a strong woman, I'm coming, from my perspective, it's not so much that we don't want to love. It's just that love is going to look different as far as how the household is going to be taken care of. Because if I'm putting in just as much work as you, it's it's just going to look different.
But see, it's also the upbringing, because you can tell the difference if you're talking to a woman who has a father in her life, a strong father in her life, and always been there, versus a woman who just been raised by her just mom. That's coming from, it's showing love, but it's also saying, hey, I can still be able to make it on my own. So
it's saying I don't need you. That's what it's saying. I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people take the word need in the wrong aspect. Like, just because I do need love, everybody needs love, but it's just that a lot of people feel like, oh, the word need, that's mandatory. That's something that you're telling me like, oh, I need a man, this and that. You're going to need a man in your life at one point. You're going to need some type of man. You're going to need some. That's why I always say you're going to definitely need some type of male figure in your life.
Well, that phrase that she made,
you will.
That phrase,
scratch her head. She said 1 second.
No, that phrase that she made, it comes with the different times and changing.
Oh, nearly
not understanding love, but I don't need you, I want you. That right there, like you said, Ron, that's their upbringing, because they're not understanding. Sometimes you have to let a man lead. And a lot of women don't know how to let a man lead because they're so stuck on and headstrong on I don't need you. And that's the problem. We're not here for you to need us. We're here for you to let us lead you. So don't worry about the lead. Just let me lead.
Give me somebody that's gonna lead me though.
I think
give me somebody that's worth submitting to.
Right. Part of it, like to Rome and Neil's point, is I think a lot of it, as far as women being strong versus the whole love thing, is a generational thing, because we've seen.
Right. It
in
is.
my case, I had both my parents. My parents in the house, but my grandmother. I only know my grandmother. I never knew my grandfather. My aunts, a lot of them were single. So that's what I saw. A lot of my cousins and stuff, they're single. They might have kids, they might not. Some of my aunts didn't have any kids, but they always did it on their own. So that's what I see. So that's naturally what I, take on and learn and, eventually end up, emulating. And it's not like I don't want to love or I wasn't taught to love. It's just, you copy what you see.
Right. Exactly.
Sometimes it's hard to, like, with the whole I need you versus I wanted you, and then the whole lead thing. See, we got to get with these words and what they actually mean. Because when you start talking about lead, then then it goes into the whole question like submission, and then that, for me personally, that's when you're gonna start.
That's a problem.
A little bit of a wall, because I don't mind necessarily submitting, but we need to look up what the word actually submission means. Number one, but I'm not submitting to no bull crap. Just because you a man don't
Right.
and you have a dick does not mean that I'm not naturally going to just follow your lead. I need to know that you know where we're going.
I don't even think it applies
Right.
to those type of men though. You know, when a man says "let me lead you," we're not talking about no drop shot ass nigga that just sitting around waiting on you to get paid or dropping you off to work in your car or staying in your apartment. That doesn't apply to those kind of guys. What we're talking about is real men who's out here taking care of home and their responsibility as a whole. So sometimes it doesn't apply to a whole society.
Where they at though?
I mean,
Not for me, but for y'all, where they at?
But they really out there. It's just that sometimes what happens is too, you have those men that's making six figures, but don't know how to communicate. You see what I'm saying? Because they paid people to communicate for them. So they may be good people to work and be able to provide, but they may not just be good enough for you because you need someone that's going to be able to communicate, be able to provide, be able to be vulnerable with you. But those men are the men who's probably making 40 to 50,000. But guess what? I always tell my sisters, it's not just also by the man, it's also how you motivate a man. Most great men out here in this world is led by people who motivate them by women. So that's why you gotta watch certain stuff. That's why you gotta watch certain stuff you say to a man.
And generally speaking, a lot of the men that are in those, upper income brackets, a lot of times they don't end up picking women that are on the same level as them. They always pick the one that's, not the one that they so-called don't want, the gold diggers who they always go after.
You know why? Because those gold diggers and those women that they end up picking, they put forth that representative that shows that they there for that man. See, that's what we talk about.
Well, then if that's the case, you can't complain about gold diggers. Men can't complain about.
Well, no, that's
if that man is right.
See those guys.
We can.
What's the
point? See those guys right there. They're not complaining about them being gold diggers. They already know. See, sometimes when guys is making that type of money, they never had women like that in their life. They had those girls that was nerds. They had this and that. So when they became the upper echelon and they saw that they can get any woman they want, they know that lifestyle.
So they
know that.
They go to the bottom of the bucket. That's
crazy.
That's
counterproductive.
But like Nell said, they show that representation. Now I'm not saying I'm glamorizing them. I'm just saying they show that reputation that they're going to be there. They show that reputation that I'm not going to argue with this man from working 40 hours.
So you're saying if a woman
days.
is equal to that man making that same amount of money, that it's going to be some sort of altercation?
You're not going to.
That's not what he's saying.
No. Right.
I need clarification.
You go ahead now.
Hey, Ron, we got to be careful because they're going to twist our words.
We're not going to twist it. We just don't interpret it as it sounds coming out.
We're not going to words.
They're going to twist it on us. We got to be careful.
You got to be clear because you just talked about. Sorry, go.
That's why she said, please clarify, because we don't want to twist your words.
Yes.
But see, what he's saying is those women, they put forth a representative. They're not saying he putting forth the representative that I'm here for your money. They put forth the representative that I'm here for you.
But they're
even though it's true or false, that's the representative they placed in front of that man. So he's not complaining about gold diggers. I know guys, I got several friends at six figures, and their favorite phrase is cash cut the conversation short. So they don't have to argue with that woman because they know that woman is just there for their money. They don't put forth the effort that they would into a woman who's there for them.
Right.
You need just get this money and go shopping. I don't feel like arguing with you. Get this money and go get your hair did. I don't feel like arguing with you. But when you got a woman that's there for a man, him giving her money ain't gonna move her. She gonna stand there and get her point across and let him know she's there to support him through it all, but she gonna straighten him if he wrong.
Yes, right.
So when these gold diggers, they're not doing that. They gonna take that cash and remove it.
Okay, so then basically, for the men that are going for the quote unquote gold diggers, they don't want to be straightened out or be told that maybe what they're doing is wrong or whatever the case may be.
You know what? Let me say this, and then we can move forward with points y'all trying to make. Okay, I'm gonna say this right here.
Go ahead, Neil.
Because a man is dealing with a woman does not mean he wants that woman. He could be just dealing with her just for the sex.
Yeah.
He could be dealing with her just for the trophy. Not that he love her or he see a true future in her. See, women misconstrue a man wanting to fuck with a man wanting them. There was two different things. So don't say because he deals with this gold digger, that's what he likes. He's dealing with that gold digger because that's what's available.
Right.
So what would you say to women like us who, are, taking care of ourselves and, I won't say we don't need a man necessarily. But
We bring a lot to the table.
Wait a minute.
We're not gold diggers.
You don't need a man or
Felicia.
a woman.
Well, hold on, Felicia gay because she don't like men anyway. So that part don't apply. But for us, me and Tori, so what am I supposed to do? Like, what would you tell me to do when I'm trying to, I'm sifting through people to date? Like, what?
Looking for? But first, what is the issue while you're dating? What is the issue that you're bumping into every time you're dating?
Single.
Wow.
I'm just saying, what is like the men that you're meeting?
The issue that I'm running into mostly is that either they are not upfront with their financial situation is, because I've ended up situations where I ended up taking care of him, like paying their bills and stuff like that. Or it's a thing where they're not being upfront as to whether or not they're actually single. Like, I understand dating multiple people. I've done it. I do it. I totally get that. But
you're not committed.
You have to act like I put up a post today. I always ask the question, do you have a girlfriend? No. Okay. Is there some woman out there that if I go up to her and I ask her who you are, she's going to say, she's your man. Oh, yeah. That's usually what the response is. And so it's like, well, you need to clear that up or let her know that, y'all just fucking or whatever the case may be. So that way, if you and I start talking, it's not going to be issue because I don't like drama. I've been called with girls, I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
So make sure your shit is clear and be upfront with what you actually have going on. And then allow me the option as to whether or not I want to participate. So for me, that's mostly what it is they not being honest with what they actually have going on.
So they're not being honest, or either they're not being honest about their financial situation.
Right.
So the people who wasn't honest about the financial, did they treat you better than the people who was lying?
No.
Or was it just
treating me like crap?
They were just crap. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the issue is too, like, I'm just speaking not for myself, but other men too sometimes. So for instance, if I'm like dead broke, if I'm trying to really get my life together, I'm not going to be dating. Like, I'm not going to take a girl serious. I'm going to tell you, your friend, like, look, I got a lot going on, but I'm not going to give you the whole definition when I got a lot going on. And I think a lot of men feel that a woman put that pressure on them to be completely honest. And most time, men is not going to sit and say, you know what, I'm dead broke. I just want to fuck. I don't got shit going in my life. Because guess what's going to happen? You're going to walk your ass away. You're not going to say, oh, he's honest, so let me give him some time. No, you're not.
You ain't gonna say that's my choice. Let me choose to sleep with this broke.
Men know that. Men know that. So men is gonna lie. Men is gonna do like the women do as gold diggers. They're gonna put that representation that they can go out there and get it. And they can do this. Meanwhile, while you're loving on them, then let me be a little bit honest with them, because now I know that she cares for me for who I am versus caring for me what's in my pockets. Because you got a lot of men that makes good money and they don't want to even say up front, hey, this is what I do. Because then the women be like, because thinking about it, when you meet a homegirl, you talk to your homegirl, what's the first question she gonna ask you? You be like, oh, I met this guy. The first question she gonna ask you, what does he do for a living? That's one of the first few questions. And if you say, oh, he's a doctor, she's gonna encourage you to say, oh man,
that depends on the group of women that you're running with.
Yes,
that's true. But most women is gonna ask what that man do for a living.
Yeah, I mean that.
Right, they're gonna assess all of his possessions and his career. And then they're going to, without even meeting that man first, they're going to tell you, oh, girl, go after him. He's a keeper. Without even knowing that he may be
based on his money.
No.
Again,
no.
I know, and I'm sure that that's the perception from a man's point of view of what that looks like coming from like women. That's the perception. Obviously, all of this is perception. So you have to perceive what it looked like coming from the man's side, what it looked like coming from the woman's side. Obviously, we're not sitting in on the man's conversation like that, so we don't exactly know, and vice versa. But for most to put together a group of women, no, that's not
at all.
That's not.
You know what?
Not because of his career,
Let me point out a move.
Because there's a lot of men that make money and beat women. That don't mean you need to go with them. So no,
you don't know he beat a woman when you first meet him.
Yeah, but I'm also not going to tell my girlfriends to go out with somebody based on their career.
Yeah,
no, I'm not saying you go out with them. I'm just saying that's one of the few questions that you ask that brings them a little bit more interest. Because if I
but that's not going to encourage somebody to say, oh, well, he does X, Y, and Z. say, "Oh, well, tell me more. He sounds interesting."
Okay.
No, that's not
So, no,
a deciding
So,
factor.
like Neil, like I know you heard part of our conversation. I know Rome, you came a little bit late, but before when Neil was getting dressed to go out, I was explaining to Nikki and Felicia about a guy that I have been seeing since I've been here in New York City. At one point, at no point, Neil, did I say what he did, how much money he made, or I didn't have to speak to
And we
any of
didn't
that.
ask.
And they didn't ask. I spoke to how he treated me, because my issue with men is, how am I being treated? What aura, what energy are you putting out there as a man? So I talked about, he did the small thing, open the doors for me, out here in New York, me being a Florida Southern girl, put me on it. Here, please step on the inside, or when we got on the subway, here, sit here so I can watch, around you, or pulling out my chair, and he was at that point even nice enough, yes, to pay for my ticket, but best believe I was prepared to pay for my own ticket, because I wasn't expecting anything like that. I was expecting the time and energy. And for me, being single and dating, that's been the hardest thing for me to find. Not what you can do, because at this point, we are, as women, we are making our own money. It isn't necessarily I need versus want. It's okay. It's less about how well you can provide for me physically. How can you provide it? How's the rest of that? What does the rest of that look like? How do you treat me? I don't need you to make more than me.
But that's a part of a need, though. You see what I'm saying?
But it's an emotion. It's not money.
Right. I ain't saying about the money. I'm just saying, like, for instance, if I came up to you and I introduced myself and I was treated you good, and I say, you know what, by the way, I just want to let you know I work at Chuck E. Cheese. In the back of your head, you're gonna think, is this man can be able to be stable to be able to do the same things I want to do? Is he gonna be able to take me out of the country? Is he gonna be able to take me to a nice fine dine dinner on Valentine's Day one day? Or is he gonna be able to throw me some surprises? Because to me, how I date, I have to date the reflection of me. That's how I date. If you're not the reflection somewhat of me, then I cannot talk to you in a certain level, because I go based off how you treat me. I don't care what you do for a living. Most men don't even care what you do for a living. You can pick up trash.
Because of tradition. Because traditionally, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Because it's based off loyalty.
But as that changes, the qualifications and what the requirement is also going to change. So even now, I'm not gonna name names. So past relationships, and I've gotten to a point where it's the opposite. Where the guy is more concerned about what I do and how much I make in order to, quote unquote, take care of him and keep him comfortable, and I've had situations. Go for it. Go.
I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. Probably because most time when men focus on that is because they've been damaged before from a previous relationship. A woman has used them, like in the case said, he probably was paying bills. He's probably taking care of her kids. When that happens, most men, it comes a nuisance where they be like, you know what? See, women can deal with more pain than men. Men, if they get cheated on one time or get damaged one time severely bad, they're gonna have that mindset
about kindergarten.
Going forward. They're gonna have that mindset going forward. Women, y'all give men chances after chances after chances. So it's like with men, we're more careful when it comes to certain things that we allow. If it went over that breach. So if I was, like, for instance, I talked to a girl in Atlanta one time. Good girl, treated me good. Come to find out, she was cheating behind my back. She lost her job. I got her a place. I moved. I don't believe in shacking, so I didn't even move in where I moved out of my place and got a studio apartment. So I let go of my place to have her stay in my place and got a studio. So I'm paying 2 rents. I'm paying chili bills. I'm paying this because I cared for her. But then when all that happened, guess what? I'm not going to do it again until I probably get married or something I know that is going to be going in that transition towards it. You see what I'm saying? But a woman, she might do it twice. And I'm not saying all women do it. I'm just saying that I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah. Neil?
Well, I agree with everything you're saying. And it also goes to the fact that men don't want to seem too vulnerable. So we hide a lot of things and a lot of our feelings and a lot of our emotions from the woman we're interested in until we can trust her with our heart. We can trust her with our emotions and our feelings. Until then, again, it's back to that representative thing. And we're going to keep certain things from you that will make us appear, in our mind, I appear weak to her in front of her. So I'm not going to tell her I'm dealing with I'm dealing with past pains from my last relationship. Most men, sometimes we find that a woman cheating on us or dogging us, we find that as a weakness or embarrassing that our woman cheated on us. So we don't even share a lot of the times with our homeboys that what was going on. Because again, we don't want to feel weak, vulnerable, or less of a man, because you women have this image of what a man is supposed to look like.
But isn't
And
that
if
still
we show,
damaging to men though?
Yeah,
huh?
like
Because I mean, because ultimately that's still gonna come back around. Like if they're like you hold that in. Because I mean, and yes, to your point, women, we have a higher, I think, pain tolerance for that. But I think that's because for the most part, most of us will open up faster, sooner, and kind of be out there. Not talking about like the cheating women, but like for the women that like do put themselves out there faster. For a man to not put themselves out there faster, trauma don't go away if you internalize it. Just come back later on and make things difficult later on, which usually ends up breaking up whatever you got going on. So it's kind of like in that cycle, it's like, wouldn't it benefit men, I think, to be more vulnerable up front, play those cards up front, so that whoever you're dealing with knows from the get-go? Because if they're not going to be there for you, if you give that to them, and again, they probably not going to be there for you when it inevitably comes out later in some way, form, or fashion. And same for her too. I mean, traumas, they, like I said, you internalize them, they don't go away.
It's so true. It's just that social media makes it worse. Because, for instance, if I sit and say that, hey, my girlfriend cheated on me today, I'm gonna probably get more feedback and say, what did you do? What did you do for her to cheat on you? Versus, hey, I don't even know what I have been through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why it's hard for men to be vulnerable. It's hard for men to be vulnerable with our own men, with our own boys, let alone be vulnerable for a woman. And this may sound like it's backwards, but it's like, that's the risk that men sometimes are not willing to take, because then the woman gonna be like, oh, this man is soft, or he's a crybaby, or he's a mama's boy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that whole situation done been brought all the way up to existence, where it's hard for me. And then that much pain that we have to deal with so long, we hold on to pain so long because we have to be the protectors, we have to be the providers. We can't cry in front of our children because our children are gonna feel like we're weak. Our woman's gonna feel like we're weak. So it's like you see a lot of men hide that pain. And then when it's finally coming out, it's like, oh yeah, the woman like, well, I didn't know none of this. And it was like, because sometimes we don't know how to communicate about that.
So
because we've been judged so long.
So at what point is it okay then to be that way with a woman? Like at what point? Because a lot of times it's like, yeah, you're holding it back.
Right.
Now, we 3 years down the road, and now all of a sudden now you're dropping all this stuff on me that I didn't even know was going on. So at what point
that we could have dealt with earlier?
Point, though. It's not a crossing point where they say, okay, we'll be 3 months in, I can tell everything. What happens with men is we open up, the more we can trust you with our feelings. That's when we start letting you in more. It's not, okay, I can tell her 6 months down the line what I'm really going through. She has to show me that she's truly there for me, going to support me and stand by me through it all.
That's my question. And it's not, I said 3 years, but it's not necessarily a timeline. Like at what point do you feel okay with that then?
Yeah, like what does a woman have to do to show you?
To show woman,
I'm telling you, like
I feel like at least in my experience,
that up front,
like at this point, because of and a lot of it has to do with like past relationships. At this point, yes, my wall is very high, and it is very difficult to get past it. But in the past, I've been, open and honest, and you can talk to me and blah. I'm not going to tell all your business. I've been, at least I feel, I've been that, that soft place that you can lay your head, and it's still getting the same result. Where I had my wall up and when I didn't. It's the same.
I think what it is it's an intuition. Men has intuition too, and I think a lot of women don't know that. Men they don't have as much intuition as women, but just like a woman, you know when you're gonna give a man something. You know when you're gonna look at him like, man, I'm gonna give him something. If he does this right, I'm gonna give him something. Men feel the same way. I know when I'm gonna marry that woman. I know that this is the right woman for me because my intuition is speaking to me and let me know this woman's right. And what that means by that, she can be motivating him, being consistent. Just like, good morning, King. How you doing? How was your day? More motivation than less reminders. instead of, and I tell women this, I told my sister this, stop reminding men how you should be treated. Stop doing that. Because once you do that, the man is going to initially run off. Be who you are and give him signs. Hey, I didn't like that. I didn't like what you did. Do a lot of things in private. Don't put a lot of stuff on social media. A lot of men judge women on social media. If you're putting on social media every time, niggas ain't shit, niggas do this. I don't understand why. No, let's turn off. I ain't talking to her because I know she crazy. So it's like, I see the woman I was interested in. I saw motivation. I saw how her grind was, how her hustle was, how she was a crafter. She loved to go after this. And I'm like, oh man, that's a turn on. So it's like the stuff that y'all feel like may not be a turn on with men is the number one thing. Some of y'all insecurities are a turn on. Like you may be like, well, I don't want to wear this because I look fat in this. Hell, he might be like, shit, you need to wear it because I like it. So there's certain things that you can do, those signs in regards to knowing that a man is gonna, like Nell said, once a man starting to trust you more and build that up, he's gonna be more vulnerable because he's gonna trust you with everything. He's not gonna think you're gonna run off to your homegirls and tell them this. And sometimes men will see things and test women. I test women all the time. If I'm sitting in the room and she's with her girls, I'm watching how she talks to her girls. I'm watching her body language. If she can't get along with her girls, she ain't getting along with me. If she don't know how to control a conversation and be emotionally intelligent, that helps as well.
It's a lot of the little things.
It's really a lot of little things.
What was you gonna say, Neil?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of little things that men see. We can't pinpoint the one thing that's going to say, okay, now let me open up to her. It's a combination of just things. You know what I'm saying? It's like you say, it could be how she interacts with her homegirls that turns them on. For me, I like women that knows how to be a mother. You know, some little simple things like that. That's a turn on to me. Not you running around here with your belly showing and you got a nice ass and hips. That ain't gonna make me take you serious. But how you treat your kids or how you treat your family, your friends, how you handle yourself in public when you out and about. That's what I watch, and that's what turns me on.
Gotcha. That's okay. I hear you.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, you are heard.
I hear you. We hear you. And I can say, Rome, to your point, like once I wasn't so focused on like relationships and just, working on myself, I have been getting more response from men, and the type of men that are reaching out to me or responding to me have been different. And it's actually like what I would consider quality type of men. And my sensor is like on point now. I can sift through bullshit like very, very fast. Like nope. You all right too. Yeah, let's see what happens, So yeah, to that point, yeah, definitely I think women, because of society, it's so like your life isn't complete unless you got a man. And I just, at least for me, my parents never personally taught me that. They always were like, get your education, live your life, and God will send that man when the time is right. So it took me a while to sort of get back to that. But now that's my, focus, now it's like, well, where y'all been all this time?
Where y'all been? Like now y'all coming out. Now y'all know minding my own business.
But they been
and I know it's hard. And I know sometimes it's hard for a woman to have this type of relationship. Like I have a best friend. I feel like every woman needs a male best friend. You need a male best friend because you got to get his, like how you get in our perspective. You have to get your perspective from a male friend, and also be single for a while. Like I was single, the longest I've been single was like been 4 or 5 years, and I started, like you said, your sensors. Like I'm picking up stuff. I'm like, oh nah, this ain't the one. And I used to be looking like, oh, she's pretty, she got a decent job. Now I know she knows how to treat me. Nah, that was the women. Most time, the man that you meet will be in the strangest places, or in the strangest atmosphere that you didn't even know you was going to meet this man. You know what I'm saying? It can be at the grocery store. It can be you cutting your grass. He cutting grass and he just spot you out or something. So it's like men know, we sense good women too. It's just that women have to allow and have in the back of their head that it's some good men out here. And I know it is. But when I first meet him, I'm going to treat him how I want to be treated too. And also I'm going to be honest with him and say, hey, and sometimes what happens is women want to be honest after 4 months in. Well, I thought you knew how. No, I don't think I know. Tell me what you want me to know. So if you sit here saying, hey, you know what, this is what I'm going through too. Because sometimes it's hard for women to be vulnerable. Yes. So it's like, understanding that when you meet him, look, I ain't gonna lie. I've been through some bad shit niggas and I don't have time. But don't say that 4 months after he ain't shit. Tell them up front. And it's not bad to.
But can we make sure that we get that coming in too, though? Because that's what we were kind of just saying. Like we look for that vulnerability up front, and with men, we don't always get that up front. And
you're not gonna really get that vulnerable part. You'll get some type of vulnerability, but you're not gonna get that emotional vulnerability up front.
Yeah, don't mix up being vulnerable with being honest. Right. You can be honest with you and say, yeah, I got this going on, but I'm not going to be vulnerable and say, yeah, I got this going on because I'm this or I'm that. You know?
Well, yeah, no, not that. So then let me clarify and be clear. I'm talking about the level of honesty, not necessarily vulnerability. That, and I get that comes with trust relation, but the honesty and being honest enough to maybe possibly not waste somebody's time if you know that you're in a position that you, to your point, Ron, that you know you shouldn't be dating. You need to be in your single season by yourself, focusing on yourself, not wasting folks' time with not being honest, not vulnerable, but honest.
So let me put this out here. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of something. So say, for instance, let me just choose one of y'all. Y'all dating a guy, right? And it hasn't got that serious. You meet another guy and you're like, oh, I like him. Let me see what's going on. But you already currently had sex with this other guy. Now, would you be honest and say, hey, I'm not gonna lie, I'm dating somebody, we're sexually active? Or would you just say, you know, we're dating?
Me personally, I'm not gonna talk about the sex part of it just because I'm a private person anyway. So I'm not just gonna be telling randoms that I meet that I'm having sex with someone. Like, I'm just not gonna.
He didn't say random. He said the second guy that you met that you were interested in also. Are you going to tell him
random? If I wasn't dating him initially, he'd be somebody that I met. Okay, so I'm calling him random, but someone that I met, second person. I wouldn't necessarily be telling them that I'm having sex with someone. Well, I say, yeah, I'm dating, yeah, but oh yeah, I had sex, and then the other part,
would you want that in return though?
Yeah,
but see, that's what I'm saying.
Not a committed relationship.
Look, this is what I got going on.
That's kind of implied.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather a man just be upfront with me. Don't worry about my feelings. Like, I can tell you a story I dealt with way worse than anything, at least in my mind, a man can say to me that's gonna hurt my feelings. I'd rather you just tell me, hey, look, this is what it is, and then I can choose. Okay, yeah, I still want to fuck with him, or I don't.
Right. But see, that's how men feel when women are expressing you. I need for you to be honest. So sometimes it's not about somebody being honest. Sometimes it's just about it ain't none of your business right now, unless it becomes the business. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why
you're asking for something that you wouldn't even do, Nick. How you would want the man to tell you what he got going on, but you wouldn't necessarily do that yourself. When I say what he got going
on, I don't even know where his dick is. All I need, only time I'm going to ask that question is if it's get to the point where he and I are going to have sex.
You're going to have sex.
Right. But before I just need to know, are there other women out here that are claiming you or think they got a claim on you or whatever the case may be? Like, I need to know how, not necessarily specifically how many are in the lineup, but let me know I'm in the lineup at least. Like, hey, look,
let me know there is a lineup. There is a line.
Exactly.
I don't think you ladies are being honest at this very moment.
I'm
just being honest, man.
We are talking about honesty. That's what,
and I don't think
I just need to know.
Honest.
For me, I feel like if you don't think I'm being honest, if we're not committed, if we're not in a committed relationship and we are all dating, to me, that is implied. You are dating, so you may be, which means that you are dating me, and you could be dating somebody else. And
exactly. I automatically assume anytime I meet a man, I automatically assume that there are some women out there. I'm not going to think.
Yes, we're not committed. We're not boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not. If we're just meeting, we are in that. So I put it this way. So dating, honesty, are we who I'm fucking? Vulnerability. That to me is kind of like the level. If we're going to break it down word wise like that, like honesty.
So it's certain levels in dating.
And what I need to know versus what you are comfortable enough to let me know as you trust me. If that makes, if that puts that in a perspective.
But I think sometimes what happens is women want that honesty there, but then they want with the honesty with them here. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you pretty much want to I pretty much got to tell you everything about my life, but then you tell me certain pieces about yours. You see what I'm saying? So if you
I already said that it's dating. That all I need. I don't know. At least for me, well, for what I said, I want. That's all I need.
I think you and the K are saying something different. And that's where the confusion comes in at for men, because you're saying you don't need that. But then the K just said, "Oh, at some point, I want to know where his dick has been if I decide to have sex with him." But you just said you didn't care where his dick has been up until that point.
That's in the beginning, yeah, up until
so at what point should he tell you we're having sex? Or I'm having sex with somebody else? And the moment when y'all in foreplay, or a week before you decide, like at what point should he tell you, "Oh, I'm having sex with somebody else"?
A woman knows, like Rome said, when she's going to sleep with somebody or not. I'm not going to ask you right up front who you sleeping with or what you got going on, but at least for me, you will get clear signs that it's going to happen. So at that point, once I'm telling you, because I'll pretty much say it bluntly, like, so this is what we're going to do, like, what time you going to be here? At that point, then yeah, I'm gonna ask, like, are you having sex with anybody else and stuff like that.
So when you dropping signals, you plan on having sex tonight when you come over with him. You want him to say, "Oh, by the way, I'm having sex with somebody else also."
No, I'm gonna ask. I don't expect him to just tell me, because that's not gonna happen. Just like I'm not just gonna tell him, but I'm gonna ask.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, I think the confusion is too, when you said a good question. You said that I want to know, like, is there any woman claiming you? Sometimes men don't know if a woman's claiming them like that, because at the end of the day,
yeah.
Have any of y'all had sex with guys and they say, "Hey, I'm just having sex with him. It ain't, he takes me on dates here and there, but we ain't a title yet because
I think that's where the confusion comes in again, because I've had conversations with men and they'll say that's not my girlfriend. But when you start having conversations, "Oh, we done took trips together. We done did this together. We done did this together." Like, well, damn, that sounds like a damn relationship to me. That sounds
that's
like
another
a girlfriend.
and that's another subject too. That's another subject. So when does it become to the point where,
because you're doing boyfriend type things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's having sex with somebody's boyfriend and girlfriend type things also, but you're not putting the stipulations and limitations on that. So why would you put the limitations on taking
Because
trips?
I know that men separate sex from relationships. That's why.
That's true.
They can have sex with somebody and not be in a relationship. That's why. But when you start telling me, "Oh, we did this," and "Oh, we did this," and then we did this, okay, so now it seemed like it's more than just a sex thing. It seemed like
or it could be, or he could be, "I took her on a trip because we're dating."
Oh, so y'all
not
do
necessarily.
That?
But
y'all do that?
So then where we going?
On trips that y'all just date.
Like, where we going next? Then cool. If that's dating like requirement, okay, where we going next?
I mean, I might have paid for a room or something, but I ain't paid for the plane ticket.
I'm gonna take her on a trip.
All right, you said trip, and that's just dating. Okay, we just dating. Where we going? I have a list.
I think men now are starting to understand that women have more requirements. So you see those guys that may be like, "Oh, I'm not in a relationship," but that's part of dating, because they have to. I'm trying to say it in the right way. It's always going to be some type of competition, no matter what. I don't care how long you've been with your girl. It's always going to be dudes after your girl. So in order for a dude to make sure that he's secure, he's going to do things that she's never experienced before, and let's take her on trips. "Oh man, I ain't never had a dude date me and take me on a trip. Oh, I ain't never had a dude to do this. I ain't never had a dude to do that." To him, that's motivation. So that's like, okay, well, I got something else in store. So men now, I see that they're doing that more versus back then. It was just, "Oh, let me just go to the movies, go get some eat." Women now being bored by that. I'm tired of just going to the movies. Can we do something different? Can we go sip and paint? Can we do this? And guess what? You have to keep upgrading every time. Every time. You can't just keep doing the same things over and over again. So that's why you have those guys. I've done it before.
Yeah, because times are changing, because I mean, I'm sure back in the day, going to the movies and that extra popcorn, that expensive ass popcorn you got was like the jam when women weren't working. You was like, "Ooh, and you sprung for butter." Okay, I see you. But shit ain't 10 cents no more. So, and once again, times are changing. Women are working, and women we can afford our own popcorn and butter. So what else? What other experience and value are you bringing to the table with me? Candy, okay. That's an extra $40 right there. Okay,
you gotta do something
fancy today.
On the night.
Right, he got it.
But so for the ladies, so when is something that after a man has taken you on several dates, when is something that you decide in the back of your head, "I'm gonna treat him out"? When do you decide that?
For me, I think probably, I mean, I've done it where we did it one off. So he paid for the first day, I paid for the second. He paid, but he was a nice guy. It didn't work out, but he was a nice guy. But for me, I would probably say like 3 dates or 4 dates in, then I'm usually like, okay, let me get it, or let me plan this one. I got it covered this time for me.
That's the same. Just to see if they're really serious about like my time. And even then, like I've gone on dates where no money was spent and it was just we took a nice walk in the park. We may have got like a cup of coffee. And it to me, you can buy me all the things, we can do all the stuff. But if I don't enjoy your conversation, if I don't enjoy like
your
how you
company.
make me feel, your company, whatever you buy me don't mean much at all. And even if you got me something big, I'll probably be like, here, I'm gonna give this back to you because I'm gonna go. I'm blunt. So
right. And I had to like Felicia and I were having the conversation. Like I have to stop myself because a guy else would be like, oh, I'll pay for this, and I'll be like, no. And
right.
Sometimes let the man, if he wants to, let him do it. It's like I'm always trying to jump and make sure that he's not doing too what I could be considered maybe too much. But I'm like Tori, like we don't have to spend money. I like the beach. Like I'm good. We can go to the beach, make some sandwiches. And
sometimes it depends.
I like stuff like that.
Sometimes I feel like based off the woman perspective, it depends on your environment too. Like for instance, you in New York, it's high to stay in New York. Rent is high. You gotta get on the train. It depends on if he has a car or not. So sometimes I feel like certain women, they date off their environment. So if you knowing that all this happened, you're gonna have a perspective like, man, I'm gonna have this guy spend all this money on this single date and this and that. You stay in by the beach. Oh, we can do interesting things. Me being in North Carolina, the beach is 3 hours away. So if I'm like, okay, let me take a girl to the beach, guess what? We're traveling. Now we're dating while we're driving. So I'm getting to know her while we're driving. I'm asking questions. She asking me questions. So it's like those things you take a look at based off where you at. Because I know a guy that lives in Houston. He said, if she stays over this side of town, I'm not dating her. She's too far. Like, I'm not going to drive an hour just to date her. So,
perspective.
Yeah. That's fine. Like I get that and respect and I could understand. So that kind of makes sense. But it's like I think it's a matter of like effort for me. Like what's the effort on both ends that you gonna put out? So like the one nice dude I found out here, he lives out in Brooklyn and I'm in here on the Lower East Side. And even when I was way up in the Bronx for God knows what reason, he still traveled his ass up to come help me move to and he did a lot of I'm more in awe of the time that he took.
Right.
And anybody else that has gotten far with me, at least initially, it was always the time and the effort and the thought that they put into whatever it is to talk to me, to have my time. And it had to be genuine too. Cause so when I was in Denver, I went on a date with a guy and was completely turned off. Because he was trying to take me, all these different places, and he's, buying up all this stuff and offering to take me shopping and all on the first date. And it was that was actually a turnoff. And he immediately he did the thing where he's like, oh, I do this for a living, I make this much, I do da 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 da, and it was just like
poor communicator.
I mean, he communicated, but he maybe too much. But it just. Right. It was just a turn off because it didn't feel genuine. It felt like he was just
right. That's why I said the man is doing that so used to buying you. So it's like the man that you're dating now. That's what like me and Nell said. He's trusting you, so now he's going to be more vulnerable with you. And by vulnerable, sometimes to me, vulnerable means effort.
Yep.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day or last week or whatever when I was saying that we were going to be doing this. I was like, sometimes men, I was talking about men in particular, but any person, but men don't realize how important consistency is. Like the person I've been talking to for the last couple months, one thing that I like is the consistency. It's not like we're on the phone talking like that every, for hours at a time or anything, but he will call me every day or send me a text at some point during the day. Hey, how you doing? And it's consistent every day. So that small little thing, and it's not like we're going out on a bunch of dates. I mean, we go out on a date probably once a week or whatever, but it's not like he's spending a bunch of money and doing all these, but that consistency to me is important.
It hit different. It hit different.
It does. And then also he genuinely cares about how I'm doing. He's not doing it, just for anything. He's like, how's your day going? How's work going? And how's your podcast going? That type of thing.
And also men have love language too. And most of the time, what men love language is words. So it's just affirmation. Let him know. Look, man, I ain't gonna lie. I appreciate you being consistent with me. So, because that's gonna boost him up.
Well, let me ask you, ladies. You guys, I mean, you saying you dating these guys. Have you told these guys how you appreciate them?
Yes, I'm very communicative about how appreciative and grateful I am about stuff. I always say thank you, and I always mean it.
That's what I was just saying. I'm working on.
What I'm saying, not the thank you. What I'm saying is, have you told this guy why you are attracted to him? Because of his effort, because of his attentiveness and his consistency. Have you told him that?
No, I haven't. And that's what I was just about to say. Like, that's something that I'm working on because, again, it's from past trauma or whatever, being too open and not getting the response back. So I put that wall up. Like, I used to have a rule, like, I will never compliment a man. Never. Because of what happened before. Like,
you honest.
Looks good. I will never, like, I mean, that's changed. That was, a while ago. But it's still something I'm working on because I'm one of those people that's like, come off as a hard ass. It's hard for me to be vulnerable. So to express, I'm more of a doer. I'm gonna show you how I feel versus me saying it. So that's what I have to work on is me saying it. And no, to your point, I have not told him, which I probably.
And I'm that friend who will show you the mirror and say, "Stop doing
helping me,
cut it out."
I'll call her and be like, "Oh my god, so this is what happened." She'd be like, "Girl, stop." So that's something that I'm working on. And I know I need to, express that. It's just for whatever reason, it's very difficult for me to do that because it makes me feel vulnerable and I'm scared that, just rejection, scared that.
Okay. Right. So that leads to the next question. That leads to my next question then. You ladies spoke about dating and implied judgment. So when you're dating a guy and you say you date multiple at a time because it's just dating, at what point does the rule change? Because at some point when you're dating a guy, you start liking that guy. You start going on more and more dates. When the rules change, meaning, okay, in your mind, we together because we've been together every day this week. We've been on 10 dates. I've met his parents, things of that nature. At what point do you open up and tell him we're not dating anymore, or I know we were just dating, but I want to move forward?
I don't have like a specific for me.
Yeah, it's not a specific
timeline. It's going to be based on how it's going, how the energy. Because there's been people that, I mean, be honest with you, I was fucking with for like 2 and 3 years, and we never was official, and that was fine.
But guess what?
But it's the communication though. Like you have to be like I'm real open and real blunt about a lot of things, and I will tell you when things are great, and I will tell you when it's not. But when I get it's a feeling, and of course it comes at like a different point in time. But if I ever get a feeling where it's like we're dating and my priority and my focus starts to, as soon as I find that my focus starts to shift on you outside of whoever else I may or may not be dating, or even if I'm not dating anybody else and you just happen to be the only person I'm dating right now, if I start to laser focus in, the moment that I feel that about myself is the moment I'm going to let you know, like, okay, I really want to, I'm going to tell you that I want to focus more on you and this is how I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. Or I'll be like, at this point, I really like you and I would like to, it's solely to be level. Us. What do you got going on? Like, let's talk if you're interested. The same way that I am, but once again, that's me. I'm real.
I ain't mean to cut y'all off. I gotta get to this kitchen thing. I'm gonna have to cut me off a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. No, you're fine. Thank you.
All right, ladies. All right, now.
Yes. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye.
What was you gonna say now?
Well, I was gonna say I believe Tori. That's the one in New York, correct? Yes. I believe her, but Nikkei, I just don't believe because you just said you have a problem with the communicating part, that you're working on it. So if you just now acknowledging that you have that problem and you are currently working on it, then you could not have been doing it in the past, telling this man, "Hey, I know we're dating,"
I'm not just now acknowledging it. I'm saying it to you guys, but I know this about myself. I'm not just they know it about me because we've had conversations. I'm not just now acknowledging it. In a past situation, I'll use that as an example. It was like about 6 months in, and the laser focus was now him. And, we were saying things and more time was being spent and, the feelings were there or mutually there. And so I decided to have the conversation. And at that point, that's when I found out, okay, so it's not what you think it is. And so, I had to chuck the deuces and go on about my business. So for me, like if I'm saying it, number one, I've already analyzed it over and over again in my head. Number two, I've already pumped myself up to say, say it to begin with. So I'm just gonna just spit it all out. And you're gonna be like, what was happening? Because I'm just gonna say,
Just tell them. Just tell them.
Because it might not happen again once that door shuts. And
that's your one and only opportunity. It's a small window.
So like, for
That's
example,
it.
like this time,
Sit still and listen.
My goal on Tinder when I was bored basically, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do 7 dates in 7 days. And normally when I've been on Tinder in the past, I may or may not respond to a message, but I was responding, and I was setting up stuff. I went on the first date. It was a no. Went on the second date. And then now for whatever reason, he was just like, we were compatible. And that's the same person I've been going out with now for the last couple months. And there was no, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can't say that I'm at a point where I'm gonna like have that conversation, but because at this point, yeah, he's the only person I'm dating, then I know it's gonna come up at some point.
So why didn't you go on to 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7?
I don't know. We just had such a good time, and we like after the first date, it was like we were already planning the second, and it's just been like that every week.
He's been consistent.
Consistency.
So why would you want
the other ones that I had set up? They set a time and all that, and I responded, okay, cool, and then I never got a response back with like a confirmation, like yes, this is what we're gonna do. So I didn't bother. I'm not the type. I'm not gonna chase you down because there's a lot of penis out here. So I don't need to chase down one. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he was consistent. So I was like, oh shit, like consistent.
But you said yourself you was going on 7 dates in 7 days. That one date does not give you the ultimate eye level of his consistency. So I'm wondering what happened to day 3 and day 4. Because you went on your one date.
I just said the message.
There was no need.
At the time, I said, okay, fine, let's do it, and then I never heard from them again.
They weren't consistent. The one dude was consistent.
Right. So he ended up taking the slot of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 because he was okay. So let's go out this day. All right. What day is good for you on this day? Okay. So let's go out there. Let's go here on this day. So he put his effort out there and, he got the response.
Chemistry goes a long way.
I love it, man. I love a man that is decisive.
What did you say now?
Yes.
No, I was just saying,
chemistry is very
goes
big.
a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, chemistry.
It takes away the effort. A lot of the times, if you got a strong chemistry, I don't have to. If me and you go on a date and we have strong chemistry, I don't have to work so hard to keep a conversation going.
Right. It doesn't feel like you have to work. You do put in the effort, but it doesn't feel like it. It's so it's effortless. It's just
It's so easy. It's easy.
Right. Like I was telling,
I got to struggle to keep a conversation with you. It's gonna be hard for me to really take you serious. To be honest.
Yeah.
I just won't do it.
Like I was telling him,
it'll be real short. The day'll be real short. I'll be like, I
gotta go.
I gotta go. I'm sorry. I know I got work, and I'm gonna go by.
I'm the person like I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm the ghoster. Like, all right, well, you have a good night, and then you'll never hear from me again.
Oh,
I'm the ghost.
My friends,
sometimes it be to people's benefit when you ghost though, because if somebody doesn't want to be around, let them go. Like just point blank, if someone doesn't want to put the effort to be around you, then that person's not supposed to be around you as the ghoster or the ghosted. If that person doesn't want to be around you, that person, you just don't need to be there anyway. Because to try and force that, what's that going to do? What kind of closure is going to bring other than something to make you upset? Or you're going to hear somebody give you that closure and it's still going to hurt your feelings. It's going to be I'm not straight. Like I'm okay. I'm not interested.
But I've heard quite a few stories of men and women being ghosted the first time or two, and then they turned around and that guy was consistent. And that's the word you ladies are using, consistency. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he stayed after that woman, and now they are married.
Well,
those right, good for them. I'm glad that worked out for them.
That worked out in their favor.
That ain't been my experience though. For me, it's been when I ghosted, then the motherfucker showing up at my house. That type of shit. That's a different type of ghost.
Yeah, no. When you're gone, when it's done, it's done. I personally, I don't chase after it. I don't chase after nobody closure. If you're not gonna be here, you just then bye. That makes more room for somebody else. Right. Like I don't have the energy to work to worry about that no more.
Right.
You saved me time,
Gotcha.
and you saved me a very awkward goodbye. But this is also coming. This is also coming from the person that stopped somebody mid stroke and was like, "You need that. This you need to go. I'm
Like,
sorry.
this is not okay. No,
This is not.
No.
This is not. No, you got to go.
See,
Bye."
it may took him 25 strokes to get it right instead of the first 10.
Mm-mm. I had to move him for him. That's unacceptable. Get out my house. Get off me and get out my house.
Get off and get out. There you
off
go.
and get out. That was me being patient. I gave him a second chance. That was his second go round. And I was like, you can go. That's
You're not getting a third.
mm-mm,
No.
mm-mm. You got 1.5, and this
You're
half
not gonna
was
make
just
this
not
shit
it.
my fault.
Good day.
You're not gonna sweat in my eye for no reason. I should be sweating. I'm moving you. No, get. And I was nice, but I was like,
Very, very sweet. I noticed he was probably a little confused. Like, dang, she told me to stop it, but she's being so nice to me though.
people get confused by my smile, Neil. They think I am very nice and I am extremely respectful, but I am also very honest. And these teeth confuse people, and I'll be like, bye.
Oh,
I think my feelings are hurt, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Like,
No, you still gonna like me. It's okay. Just don't contact me again. It's all right. It's fine. Just have a great day.
you know what?
How's your mom?
you have
That's
to
what the man gotta
appreciate
take-
this
you gotta
kind of
take the
honesty,
angle, but-
though.
What'd you say, Neil?
And
I said that's when the man takes the angle. So what? I still smash.
that's fine. You
Even
can take that.
Hey,
I won't take that away from you.
We
Look
gotta
what you
find
just met.
common
Cool.
sense.
Half.
But at that point, I mean, if you have to move him, it's like, well, did you fuck me or did I fuck you? Because
Fuck you.
you know,
I had to move.
pretty sure I was doing all the work.
My quads and hamstrings tired.
That's a tough one.
But that's the thing. I don't argue with folks either. I just don't. I don't have the patience or the energy for it. So you can say whatever you like. You did. You came close, but you didn't finish. But that's not my story to tell. And whoever you telling,
Right.
I don't care anyways. And if
It
they know
doesn't
me,
matter.
they know me. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. And if they know me, they're gonna come find me and ask me. And I'm gonna tell them what happened.
So whatever you're saying to anybody else is irrelevant. It
And it's
doesn't
probably
matter.
in your best interest not to say anything because if I find
Exactly.
out, I got to tell the truth, and now who's embarrassed?
And now your feelings hurt.
Now, and that's why, and that reverts back to why men aren't as vulnerable up front, because when you ladies are mad,
Did we wait a minute? Did we just prove his fucking point?
yes, you did. Yes, you did.
No, but it's the point of community. That's why you have, but that's why I think also women, we can take a little bit more pain like that, because typically, not all the time, but typically women, we have a very trusted tribe that we can take that trauma, take whatever's happened to us, and we have a safe space to divulge that, so it doesn't necessarily sit on our heart so much. I mean, unfortunately, there's repetition in that sometimes, but I think that having that vulnerability, at least with our friends, to release whatever pain. I mean, and I always have a running joke where it's like guys get hurt in kindergarten, like the girl wouldn't share her blue crayon, and now he just hurting every woman afterwards. Like it starts early for men, but I feel like men aren't given that outlet to be vulnerable like that. Like society dictates that men don't get to be vulnerable like that, and I think that that's a problem, because I think a lot of issues would be solved if everybody could just have that safe tribe community outlet and socially be allowed to like
that is
Let
true.
themselves
get that out.
Yeah.
That is true. Society does.
Like we're all humans.
Go ahead, Felicia.
We're all on the same journey. We're all here to spread love, to just be. So why not be vulnerable? What is it hurting to be vulnerable for men and women?
Well, you know what? That's a rational take from a woman's perspective. Men, there are very few men that'll see it like that, and that is partially, that's mostly because of society. Society doesn't give us that freedom to say, why not be vulnerable? Mm-hmm. You got to think the times that we're living in, even back in the day, the man has been labeled as the protector, and women, and the way society is, they don't see us as a protector. if we're sitting there crying along with you.
Mm-hmm.
When as a protector, they perceive that as I need to protect her feelings, her safety, her family, my family, our home. I don't have time to be vulnerable. I don't have time to cry with
That's
her.
a lot to put on one person.
That's what society's put on
That's
the
a lot
man,
to
though.
put on anybody.
But that's what they placed on men.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah, and I
sort of
can
a
agree with that. And
change
I
though
think that's
coming though.
where, that's where it's messed up. Because I think for any person, but for a man, your woman is the one place where you can be vulnerable, because
Mhm.
in the world operating, when you're at work, when you're out, especially as a black man, with all these police things, it's all types of shit that you got to worry about. So home is the one place where you should be vulnerable. And if you've done your choosing right of the right woman, she should be open to that and not see you as weak. Because if anything, that makes you stronger. At least from my experience, when I've been able to just let it out, I feel stronger afterwards. Like, okay, I got it out. I know I can take anything else that comes my way. And it should be the same for a man. That woman, your home should be the one place where you can be like, damn, babe, it was a hard day, and cry if you want to cry. And her not, pick on you or whatever the case may be, and be like, it's all right, babe, I got you. And so when you go back out there, you a strong man, because you got that support system at home. And you have that one safe place, even if you don't have it anywhere else. So I think that's where it should, change, which obviously it's 4 of us here now. It's like we're going to change the whole world.
I don't know.
Yeah, it would be nice.
We can change the whole world.
Yeah,
We can. One.
you never know how many
person.
people we're gonna reach. You never know.
I feel like this is a kumbaya moment. Come on, Neil. Let's go.
Oh. Hold hands, Neil. Come on.
Okay. Hold on. Now y'all leading the call up. Y'all telling me I'm the man here.
I'm a little aggressive, just a little bit.
But I think times are changes though. I think as gender roles and stuff are starting to kind of like adjust with the times. I also think that I also see a lot more encouragement of men to open up. I see a lot more push for therapy for both men and women. And I think eventually I think that it'll be there, but also there's a lot of like in trying to find that new norm, there's a lot of like pendulum swinging all the way left and right. And
well, because at the end of the day,
I think
we're all humans, and humans, I always say humans are fickle. You want one thing this day, they want something else the next day. So it's
like make up your mind.
Yeah, it's always
but it's
ongoing process.
It's also to go along with her point of times are changing. It's because there's more education to a lot of this stuff. A lot of the times, the way they raised us back then, it was because of the lack of knowledge. Now that we know more, we have more studies, we have more results. That can just dictate more things now and perceive things in a better fashion than what they did back in the 60s or the 50s. It's known now because just think about it. 10 years ago, no one was talking about men need to go have mental health or have therapy or to see a therapist. 10, 15 years ago, it was almost like it was a what is the word, I guess?
Taboo.
Taboo. It was taboo for men to see therapists. But as you said, now it's more and more encouragement for men to seek therapy, to get their emotions out. And what we're learning as more and more men go to therapy is that we're dealing with a whole lot of trauma from generational curses that we're packing inside. And we're just now able to release or learn how to deal with in a more effective manner. Yes. And that comes with time and education. We didn't have it, back in the day. One example I like to talk about is when we were kids, our dads didn't encourage us to, or didn't support the young men or the young boys crying if they felt pain. They fell down. What our dads told us: get up, brush it off. You ain't hurt. Now you acknowledge their pain, and then you let them know you love them and how you feel, and it's easier now. And I tried these studies that I was learning from from these little articles I was reading, and I see the change in my son versus his friends. Now every time my son walks out the door, he tells me he loves me. When 10 years ago, I can't recall, and I'm just going to be honest, one time I told my daddy I love him, and I'm 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I can't recall one time. Now, of course, I ain't meet him until I was 18, but in those 22 years, we got a very strong relationship. We talk all the time. Mm-hmm. He's here for me. He's here for me emotionally. He's here for me, physically if I need him. That's my connection to North Carolina. He's in North Carolina. I have a large family in North Carolina. But I can't remember one time I told him or felt comfortable enough to say, I love you. But I'm learning with more and more studies and through examples with my own child to say, I love you. So, I'm getting to the point now where I feel as if I can say that to him. But again, that comes with education and time. It's a different time for all of us.
It is.
Right. Yeah. Right. So those of us that have children, hopefully we're doing, sounds like you are. So hopefully we're doing better. And so that, with each generation, it'll get better. We won't have those generational curses. Because I think that's, like you said, Neil, that's a big thing, is a generational thing. Your mama taught you, and her mama taught her, and her mama taught her, and it just stays.
We got to do better.
The way it's
generational stuff.
Yeah. Then if you are the one that's different, then you're scolded for being different. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something that we all have to work on, especially Black people, because I think it's real. Yes. I don't know how white people operate. I don't know, but I know for us, that's a big.
Yes.
It's a big.
Like I know my daughter gets tired of me telling her I love her.
Went skydiving. Oh, I don't know. Black people don't die. Yeah, they do. Black people do skydiving.
Yes,
we do things.
Isn't it fun?
Black people travel. Black people get out. We do stuff too. But that's I think it was Rome before he left. It's about the environment as well. So same as Nikki, 2-parent household. My parents been together since they were like 14, kind of thing. But my dad, I remember seeing my dad. My dad cried all the time growing up. My dad was very well respected in the community that he was in, and people looked up to him and came and talked to him all the time. But yeah, I've seen my dad cry a number of times. So for me, that was never like, I was actually more baffled when I became an adult and I did start dating, and I noticed that like the men around me didn't cry. And that used to like make me worried. I'm like, didn't I hurt?
Are you a sociopath? What
like
this?
And they did, and they did. I came across a sociopath. I came across, a lot of like issues that like stemmed from not having that and having that being something that actually turned me off to like a lot of these guys and be like, you don't express your
they're
emotions.
Not able to show empathy.
You can't at that point. My daddy cried all the time, like for legit things, but he was also very strong, and I always felt like men who could cry when they needed to cry and then pick it right back up and turn around and keep it going, that was always a turn on for me. Like it is it's the opposite for me.
I never heard my dad cry until I was young, but it was when his mom passed, and my dad's Nigerian. She was in Nigeria, and he couldn't go over there to see her, and that was the first time I heard him cry. And I've seen him cry a few times after that, but it was always just very, just like. So I used to be like, if I saw a man crying, like, what the fuck are you crying about? Like, why are you?
Oh God, Jesus.
Obviously, that has changed. I've gotten older and mature, and
how you want to be vulnerable?
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm growing. I've grown, but I'm just saying. Like, punk ass, stop fucking crying. That was me. But I'm better now. I'm better.
I'm reformed. Grand rising.
I've educated myself.
Hey, ladies, this has been fun. I gotta make a run though.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
I do appreciate the talk. It was cool hearing it from you ladies' perspective. And thanks for the invite.
All right, thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Now I gotta figure out how to hang it up.
Oh, just hit the red button.
All right, there we go.
All right. There you are. All right, ladies. Well, that was fun. That was
fun. Man, perspective. Made us be quiet for a couple seconds and a few points. We was like, oh.
Yeah, but okay, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in.
Yes.
This is season number 9. Our next episode will be our season 1 finale.
Yes, subscribe, share.
We're going to be doing that one live. So we're going to have that postings and stuff where it's going to be, if it's going to be on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, whatever it's going to be. But yes, like Felicia said, like, share, subscribe, comment. We need your feedback.
Tell your friends. Get everybody on.
Yes. We going to be all in one spot. It's going to be a hot girl summer 21.
What?
I'm coming back to Florida, guys.
Nikki, it's moving. It's moving. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.
All right.